Hello everyone, it's the Trail Guy here and welcome to session 6 of the video. And today we'll get right into the quote of the week. And the quote of the week today is, complex things are easy to do, simplicity is the real challenge. So that's the quote of the week. Now, today we're going to start it out a little differently. We're going to have a special guest today. A person has been wearing the FiveFinger shoe. That's been a lot of controversy the last year or so about minimalist shoe. But I wanted to bring in our guest today, and she came into the store running store I'm working for. She came in there saying that she wanted these FiveFinger shoes, and I'm a doubter about that. But here's a person who has worked for her because she's had injuries. But I'm going to call in Ellen. And Ellen, can you come here? Thanks a lot. Thanks for being here, Ellen. Hi. Thanks for being here. Could you sort of share with everyone exactly when you walked into the store and you say you wanted FiveFingers, and I was sort of surprised at that, but could you sort of share your story about how you got into wearing the FiveFinger shoes?
Yeah. Let's see. It was a couple of years ago. I was wearing the Nike Freeze.
Yes.
And then I started doing the trail running.
Yes.
And I decided that I needed a better runner for that. So I talked to my physio, got a more supportive runner because I have pretty weak ankles and stuff. And I thought, oh, I gotta, make sure that I have a good running shoe. So I was wearing pretty good running shoes to do the trail running, and at the same time I increased the amount of time I was running, so the distance, and I was doing a lot more hills and stuff. And I guess it was about 8 months later that I started to really not feel too great with my feet, and I was getting a lot of tension in my feet and spasms and around the outside of my foot. It really was starting to hurt, and near the back and around the heel. And then I talked to my physio, and he said that I had plantar fasciitis.
Whoa.
And it turned out to be pretty painful because I just sort of didn't really pay much attention to it in the beginning. And now, after reading stuff and that, I realized I should have paid attention to it right away, because then I would have been able to deal with it more quickly. However, anyway,
yes.
I tried to add orthotics and do all of these different things that the physiotherapist had suggested, and he was taping my feet every week and doing all of that kind of stuff, and I was rolling my foot on a ball, and tennis ball and a golf ball, and all of those kinds of little tricks that people try to use. And none of it seemed to work, and I kept using my same runners. I had to decrease the amount I was running, and I decreased from 5 days a week to 3, which for me, I thought that was a big deal.
Yes.
But it obviously wasn't enough. I was still having trouble. So, and I started wearing my Nike Freeze more, but they didn't seem to help at all either. So finally, I decided to try going the other route. Rather than having super support like I had, go almost with none. And at the same time, really stretch everything to do with my feet and my ankles and my hamstrings, like just try and get everything strengthened up more, because my attitude was, well, maybe I've been supporting something that I should be actually strengthening.
Yes.
Like supporting it with the runner when I should actually be strengthening my foot. So I went to the FiveFingers.
FiveFinger, you can show us a few here, because you
I'm
have
just going to
several
show.
types.
I went. I got these FiveFingers first.
Yes.
At one of the local shops in Victoria, and these ones are called KSO, which is what does KSO mean? It keeps things out anyway. KSO keeps stuff out.
Oh, okay.
And they're fabulous. I love these.
Yes.
They've got this really neat kind of elastic around the edge, so that you can't get things like sand in very easily.
Okay.
And I wore these for about Well, I started like 15 minutes a day because they said, you know, be
Gradually
really
working
careful.
into it, yes.
Yeah, and I didn't want to get even worse.
Yes, sure.
Because this is pretty out there for me to try something like this. Anyway, after about 3 weeks of building up, and finally I was running. You know, I was on grass, and then I was just running up and down the street. I felt comfortable going and running with my running group, and we did, you know, like 45 minutes out, and everybody's laughing at me because they think I have like little gorilla feet and stuff.
Yes.
And they were fine. I didn't have any problems at all. They just seemed great. And not only that, but my feet just seemed like they were, I wasn't getting the pain like I was.
Wow.
Like, oh, I can't tell you. I mean, it was really like I just had such tightness all the way down, and you'd feel it on the hip or on the heel.
Yes.
And the toes, they'd all scrunched up, and I was having to really massage and stretch everything out.
Wow.
So I was doing all these exercises, stretching my toes back and then going this way and going, you know, trying to exercise everything around my foot.
Yes.
And when I wore these, seemed to be fine.
Yeah.
Now, and I've got several different pairs for different things.
Yes.
Now I wear them for different reasons. Like these ones I use when I'm going to be in sand, and I know there's a lot of, you know, it's a dusty road or something like that. And then I have another pair, these ones,
Yes.
that they have like an extra layer of rubber, I guess it is. These are all Vibram soles, and it's just a little bit thicker than these ones. And
Yes.
you can see that there's a different kind of finish on them too. So these ones grab a little bit more on the road. I wear all of them on trails. I wear all of them on the road.
And everything. But then the bottom line is, though, you, it solved your plantar fasciitis problem, right?
Yeah, and I don't have any problems with them. Like, you know, like people are saying to me, you know, yeah, but what about your arch support and all of that?
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, plantar fasciitis, that's the whole thing, is you got these ligaments here.
Sure.
That supposedly are being stretched to the hilt because when you're bending.
Yes.
And then they're tightening up. And like I would have been screaming.
Yes.
A year and a half ago doing that.
Wow.
And now I can just be winding my foot around all different ways, you know, and I'm fine. But I don't know. Even this kind of makes me feel like I get a little bit of arch support there.
Yes. So your feet are stronger.
Oh, absolutely. You know. I can go up on my toes.
Wow.
Before, if I went up on my toes, I would be really spasming, like it would really hurt. You just couldn't come off of your foot, you know, off your toes at all when you were running.
Wow.
Or I was running, and I used to have much more of a, I'd go this way and then I'd come off, like it was just this funny wonky little thing I did with my foot, and I'm just a little bit stronger. The thing that I really am happy about is my toes are actually able to spread out now, whereas my big toe before was really in, you know, and it would come underneath, and so it was quite swollen a lot of the time.
Yes.
And now it's spreading out, and I think it'll take a couple more years. I don't know.
But you're gonna be wearing these all the time.
Yeah.
It's working for you.
Yeah. Now I've been running in them for like 10K and stuff, and it's only been in the last 3 months that I'm starting to increase the amount that I'm running. So I've run 20K in them.
Oh, good. Wow.
And I've been okay. And so I'm figuring, I'm pretty lucky.
Good for you.
I'm really lucky because all I had to do is stretch my feet,
Yes.
you know, and do some exercise.
Well, that's good. Now, I'm going to ask you something because we have limited time, but I'm going to ask you now, what advice would you give someone who's thinking about using the FiveFingers, and especially people who have had injuries before and they need another option? Would that be a wise thing to do?
Well, I don't know. I suppose it depends on what the injury is in the person. I just think that if you're going to consider it, to go really slowly and be super cautious.
Yes.
Because you don't want to get worse.
No.
My first pair, I bought them, and then I went and used the treadmill at the local gym just to see what they were like too, you know, before I actually went out on the street with them, so that I could take them back if I needed to.
Yeah.
So, you know, you can find out pretty quickly if something it feels like it's going to work okay.
Yes.
But to me, I had to do a lot of work, and even now I'm constantly moving my feet all the time, stretching and making sure that they're in good shape. It's so I'd say that, you know, you could do that too.
Yes.
If you're wearing, like if it's a woman wearing high heels and stuff, you're just going to have to get rid of them. You know, cowboy boots, forget it.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to go from a high heel down to these. Your calves are going to hurt you.
Yes.
No matter what, because there's so much more work that you have to do now, because you're going from a, you know, thick heel down to nothing.
Just nothing there, yes.
This is just nothing. I mean, it's, I don't know, a quarter of an inch or something.
Wow, good.
Yeah, so I like them. I feel good in them, but I can tell you that nobody in my running group thinks that I'm sane.
But you know, but it's worked for you, and it helped your. And again, no plantar fasciitis, no Achilles problems, nothing like that.
No. The only thing that I can tell is that people would need to do a lot of exercising of their Achilles and their calves. I did a lot on my hamstrings too, but I kind of always thought that maybe my hamstrings were part of the problem, like starting at the hips and then coming down, and then it affected my feet because I didn't stretch before.
Yes.
And so in a way it was a blessing getting plantar fasciitis, because I take care of my feet now.
Yes.
You know, I look after them, and I really am careful about, you know, cutting my nails properly and all of that, you know, so that I'm much more conscious of what is happening to my feet now with these runners, whereas before I was kind of like, oh, I'm in these cushy things and I don't have to worry about anything.
Good for you. Well, listen.
Anyway, there you go.
Alan, thanks so much for sharing your story, and hopefully everyone you'll benefit from this. And it's good to get another perspective for the Five Fingers, because I was a doubter of it, and it's nice to see that. Now, if you want to stick around here for a while, I've just got a few things to share with people, and it won't take long. So the next we'll get going here. I had asked. Now, I guess the big thing that I found really crappy too, as everyone heard, that Maham True, a.k.a. Cabula Blanco, was lost in the wilderness in New Mexico, and then they found him 4 days later. He died. So he was a really pillar of the ultra community, and of course he is made famous from the book Born to Run, which right now I'll jump into. That's the book of the week that actually now that I'm going to recommend. It's a very good read. It's Born to Run by Christopher McDougall. And a lot of people in the ultra community have heard about it, but the people who haven't, this is just an excellent book. And if you want to get inspired, well, and it talks a lot about, of course, a story about the Leadville, how that happened with the Turahumara Indians, I believe they were called. So that's the book of the week. So I'll jump into that. Now, next. Okay, book of the week. Okay, now I wanted to find something very interesting. I always find something interesting is the ancient Greeks didn't have obituaries. When someone died, they asked, did he have passion? And you can tell you, Blanco had passion. He lived doing what he loved, and that's what we can learn from that. And beautiful example. Not too many people can say that. Now, everyone, let me know your thoughts and what you'd like to see and hear more of. And so I'm off now. Again, thanks for coming here, and I'm the Trail Guy. See you guys next week. Oh yes, next week. The topic is going to be, I'm going to be sharing 12 powerful affirmations when the first sign of fatigue sets into your run or race. So I'll be sharing those 12 powerful affirmations. So until next week, and